structure is also important, right? Because even for somebody who's the educator, when they have a structure, it's easy for them also to deliver it.
Many parents told us the children were climbing walls and this was a great outlet for them. I mean, there's so much science that shows you what play can do mentally, physically to a child.
I think when you start something as a mother, when you're trying to give that to your child and others, the quality definitely makes a difference, right?
Absolutely.
What you provide for children makes a difference. But we'd love to hear from you, what is structured play and what is unstructured play, and what does that do to your child if you put them in those sort of...
Okay, so the difference between unstructured play and structured play is the boundaries that you set around time and what objectives are set for the hour, right? So it's like lunchtime playing versus PT period playing, right? That is a very clear definition of structured and unstructured play, right? But if we're going to talk about how unstructured is letting me be the determinant of what happens in the time I choose, to how I use my body, to how many boundaries I'm going to push. I'm choosing all that in the unstructured thing. In a structured environment, you get to do some of that, but it's sort of with a defined objective. You're going there with a purpose. So when someone comes to Great Goals, they're coming there for that hour to learn to play football or basketball. And we take structure a little beyond what is usually structure. We have a curriculum. So any Great Goals field you go to, that particular day has the same objectives going on. So when you come to football that day, it might be learning to dribble with 3 parts of your foot, or it might be, first touch, or whatever it is. That's there's a specific reason they're coming to that class on that day. There's a specific reason they're coming to Great Goals for that term, right? And it's sort of predetermined what our end goal for that period is, and that's the real difference between structured and unstructured. That someone else is sort of drawing the boundaries of what you're doing with that time, versus unstructured play is how am I going to determine what I'm doing.
So you have learning outcomes for that particular
we're very structured
class.
like a school actually.
Yes.
We have an annual curriculum. We have a technical director who sits in the UK, and he was here last year for about 6 weeks. So he sets up the curriculum for the year, and that curriculum is broken down into terms, then it's broken down into modules, and then every week there's a session plan that coaches deliver.
See, and structure is also important, right? Because even for somebody who's the educator, when they have a structure, it's easy for them also to deliver it. And even within that 1 hour, how much time is spent on warm up, how much time is spent on a certain aspect of the technical aspect, then whether they're playing game time, and then cool down.
Correct.
And when you have that structure, it's easier for the educator to deliver it. And I think that's important. And then also, we are all living in a time where it's kind of, you take time to get to a class, you take time to come back from a class. So as a parent, you also want some structure in the activity that you're sending your child to, right? That also helps as a parent. So if you're able to find a place, where you can send your child for that structured play, it helps, I think, in today's day and time. And again, like she says, even if you have the structure, you are giving that flexibility to the child, and I think you have to listen to the child even in a structured play. Just that in a structure, there is a boundary. But the boundary when a child is younger has to be a larger boundary. The play area has to be a much larger space. So for the child to explore himself or herself within that boundary also.
Got it. So what happens when children don't get enough time or space to move, to play around? Have you seen what happens to children when they don't really play as much sports as they should, or don't play enough?
I think movement in general, right? We saw that happen during COVID.
That's
right?
true.
When
That's
our
true.
kids were locked indoors for the first few days, when we were all paranoid and not stepping out. Very soon into COVID, we started online classes. So we were like, okay, if we had to do something within a very small space with things like water bottles and socks in the house as your markers, what could we do? And I really hand it to my team. They came up with things very quickly. We saw the difference. And what happens? One is you're productively burning energy.
Correct.
Right? Many parents told us the children were climbing walls and this was a great outlet for them. Right? The second thing is any movement, right? Whether it's going down, fresh air, running around, makes you eat better. So a lot of children, I mean, one is the fitness aspect of it, the other is the health aspect of it, right? And you're eating better, you're sleeping better, you're, more energized. I mean, there's so much research that shows that when the first hour of school is play or outdoor activities or PE, the focus during the day is so much better. There's all of that science is there. I don't know why we don't structure our timetables like that, but I mean, there's so much science that shows you what play can do mentally, physically to a child, and we saw evidence of that during the first few days of COVID.
Development and growth, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, which also tells us that physical movement doesn't restrict to an outside space. You could bring it inside the house.
Yeah,
too.
and it can be anything. Like she said, it need not be sport. It can be dance. It can be anything which keeps a child active. And sometimes I don't know whether I'm jumping the gun, but it's also that your child need not excel in it.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
I think movement is just important for your child. It need not be just for, is he very good at it? But just to get your child moving is very, very important.